What if everything we see, the stars, the galaxies, the people, the space between, is merely a shadow cast by something far more complex? What if the true structure of reality lies not in what we perceive, but in dimensions beyond imagination? Welcome to the ultimate journey through the dimensions of reality. A voyage from nothingness to multiverses, from flatlands to the mind of the cosmos. This isn't science fiction. This is the frontier of physics, the canvas of consciousness, and perhaps the key to everything. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The meaning of dimensions. The word dimension comes from the Latin dimensio, meaning a measuring of extent. In everyday life, dimensions help us define how big or small something is, how long a hallway stretches, how high a mountain rises. But in physics, dimensions go much deeper. They are not just measurements of space. They are the very framework in which reality operates. A dimension is a degree of freedom, a way something can move, change, or exist. Each additional dimension introduces new degrees of complexity, new rules, new possibilities. There's the world we see, length, width, and depth. There's the one we feel, time passing. Then there's what lies beyond, the unseen, the unmeasured, the hypothesized. To understand dimensions is to understand the blueprint of the universe, and possibly to understand ourselves. Chapter 2. The Zero Dimension, Point of Origin. Let us begin at the true beginning. A zero-dimensional object is nothing but a point. It has no length, no width, no height. It occupies no space. It exists only as a location, not here and there, just here. In geometry, this is the simplest possible object, but in physics, it's anything but simple. Theoretical physicists have long suspected that the early universe began in a state that resembled this zero-dimensional singularity, an infinitely small, infinitely dense point. This is where the Big Bang is believed to have originated. From this point, all dimensions unfurled: space, time, matter, possibility. But the zero dimension is not just the start of the universe. It's also the foundation of quantum uncertainty. At Planck's scales, particles become dimensionless blips of probability. In the zero dimension, the universe is an idea, not a thing. A concept, not a location. And perhaps ... consciousness itself begins as a point outside of time. Chapter 3. The first dimension, a line of existence. Add a direction to a point, and you have a line. The first dimension is a single straight path. It has only one measurable direction, length. Imagine walking along a tightrope. You can go forward or backward and nothing else. In this world, there is no width, no side-to-side movement, no up or down. It's a fascinating realm to imagine. An entity in 1D would have no awareness of width or height. It wouldn't even understand the idea of looking over something. Everything would exist in front or behind. Mathematically, the first dimension is used constantly. Time series in data science, strings in computer memory. Even musical notes can be modeled as one-dimensional oscillations. In string theory, one-dimensional strings may be the most fundamental particles in the universe, tiny loops vibrating in multi-dimensional space. They have no width, no height, only length, yet they may hold the secrets to mass, gravity, and matter. The first dimension is the thread of reality, and perhaps its DNA. Chapter 4. The second dimension, the flat universe. Now add width to length, and the world becomes a plane. Welcome to the second dimension. This is a universe of length and width, but still no depth. Think of it as an endless sheet of paper, or a shadow on a wall. In 1884, Edwin A. Abbott imagined this world in his book Flatland. In it, he described a society of shapes, circles, squares, triangles, living in a perfectly flat universe. To them, the idea of up and down was inconceivable. A sphere passing through their plane would appear first as a dot, then a growing circle, then shrinking again until it vanishes. Sound familiar? That's exactly how higher dimensions might intersect our own. They may pass through our world without being fully seen. Only fragments, slices, shadows are visible. In fact, light itself is two-dimensional in some models, oscillating along the perpendicular planes. And in biology, many structures, from cellular membranes to viral surfaces, form as quasi-two-dimensional systems. Life in 2D would be unimaginable to us, yet it gives us the first clue. We may be flatlanders, too, to something above. Chapter 5, the third dimension, depth and volume, now add height to length and width, and suddenly, form emerges. Shadows gain bodies, shapes become solid. The universe unfolds into what we know. The third dimension is our world. It's the dimension of depth, volume, and perspective. Here, objects can rotate, move, and exist with complexity. A cube, a tree, a human being, a galaxy. But even this dimension, as familiar as it is, may be more illusion than substance. According to some physicists, what we perceive as a 3D universe might actually be holographically projected from a 2D surface at the edge of the universe, like a cosmic simulation. This is called the holographic principle, and it suggests that all the data describing our 3D world is stored like pixels on a 2D screen. Think of it like a hologram, a 3D image encoded in a flat surface. The depth is real to us, but not fundamental. In the third dimension, atoms create molecules. Space becomes traversable, stars form planets, and planets form life. But even here, our senses may deceive us. We see only into dimensions. Our brain interprets depth. We do not see 3D. We infer it. And just like the flatlanders, we may be seeing shadows of higher forms without even realizing it. Chapter 6, the fourth dimension, time and the illusion of flow. In our everyday lives, time feels like a river flowing constantly from past to future. But in physics, time isn't something that flows. It's a dimension, the fourth dimension. Just as width is perpendicular to length and height is perpendicular to both, time is thought of as perpendicular to all three, creating a four-dimensional construct known as space-time. This was Einstein's revelation in the early 20th century. In his theory of special relativity, time was no longer a universal constant. It could stretch, contract, and slow down depending on your speed and gravity. This means time is not absolute. It's relative. Consider this: a person flying in a high-speed jet will experience time slightly slower than someone on Earth. A clock on the International Space Station ticks differently than one on the ground. Near a black hole, time can almost stand still. This isn't science fiction. This is measured physics. But here's where it gets even deeper. If time is a dimension, then perhaps the past, present, and future all coexist. They're simply different coordinates along the 4D axis. We are like passengers on a train, experiencing one moment at a time, but the whole track exists. Some physicists and philosophers suggest this means the flow of time is an illusion. There is no now, only our consciousness moving through space-time. This opens profound questions. Are we living in a block universe where all events already exist? Is time travel possible if we can move backward or forward in time like we move in space? And if so, who or what defines the direction? In 4D, a cube becomes a tesseract, a four-dimensional hypercube. It cannot be visualized directly, but its projection, like a 3D shadow of a 4D object, reveals strange patterns and motions. Artists, mathematicians, and physicists have long tried to depict it, twisting, rotating, intersecting through itself. In popular culture, the fourth dimension is often used to explain supernatural phenomena, alternate timelines, or consciousness shifts. But in science, it is very real, and it is the stage upon which every particle in the universe performs. Chapter 7, the fifth dimension, the landscape of possibilities. If the fourth dimension is time, what lies beyond it? The fifth dimension is not another direction in space or another clock on the wall. It is the dimension of alternative realities. In the fifth dimension, all possible outcomes of every decision branch into separate timelines, all coexisting in a higher dimensional space. Let's break that down. Imagine two events. In one timeline, a coin flip lands heads. In another, it lands tails. In a three-dimensional world moving through time, only one of those becomes real. But in five-dimensional space, both outcomes exist. They are parallel realities branching from a single origin point. This is the basis of the many worlds interpretation of quantum mechanics. According to this theory, every quantum event creates a branching of the universe. Every choice creates a divergence. Every probability becomes a reality in a different 5D timeline. But this isn't just theory for theory's sake. In some advanced versions of string theory, the fifth dimension is a real coordinate, compactified and hidden from our senses, but mathematically necessary. This means there may be actual connections between parallel universes, separated not by space, but by dimensional structure. Visualize it like this: our universe is a flat sheet. Other universes with different laws of physics, different outcomes, different pasts and futures exist on neighboring sheets. The fifth dimension is the axis that connects them. Could we ever access these alternate timelines? Could consciousness or quantum entanglement serve as a bridge? Some physicists believe subtle clues may exist: quantum tunneling, entangled particles communicating faster than light, Mandela effects where collective memory seems to shift realities. In the fifth dimension, reality becomes a tree of infinite paths, and we are but one branch. Chapter 8, The Sixth Dimension, The Infinite Playground. Now comes the truly mind-bending question. What if there are not just alternate outcomes of our universe, but entirely different initial conditions? What if the Big Bang had different settings, different physics, different constants? This is the sixth dimension, the space of all possible universes with all possible laws. Imagine a universe with no gravity, one where time runs in reverse, one where stars never formed, one where life evolved as pure information. The sixth dimension encompasses every logically consistent reality, not just variations of ours. It's not just quantum choices, it's cosmic architecture. In string theory, this level of structure emerges naturally. In fact, the theory only becomes consistent in 10 or 11 dimensions, with 6 of them curled up in minuscule geometric shapes called Calabi-Yau manifolds. These curled-up dimensions are thought to influence fundamental forces, particle masses, the nature of space and time. In this view, the sixth dimension is not a place, it's a mathematical terrain. Physicist Max Tegmark has proposed the idea of a mathematical universe, that reality itself is not made of matter or energy, but of pure math. In this model, the sixth dimension is where math expresses itself as universes. But can we perceive this only indirectly? When we study quantum mechanics, black holes, or cosmic inflation, we may be touching the edges of a multidimensional reality we cannot see, but can sense through equations and paradoxes. The sixth dimension is the library of all possible books. Each universe is a volume. Ours is just one story in an infinite collection. And the deeper we look, the more pages we discover. Chapter 9, The Seventh Dimension, The Realm of All Possible Timelines. If the sixth dimension contains all the possible initial conditions of all universes, the seventh dimension takes us one level higher. Here, imagine a landscape that connects all the different universes born from all different Big Bangs, each with unique fundamental laws, starting energies, and dimensional frameworks. The seventh dimension is not just the space of individual realities. It is the connective web between every possibility stemming from every starting point. This means a universe with no time, a universe built entirely of dark energy, a universe where entropy runs backward, a universe where mathematics operates with a different logic altogether. The seventh dimension links them all. In mathematics, this would be a kind of superspace, an abstract space whose points are entire multiverses. Here, movement isn't across physical coordinates, but through conceptual universes. Each step is a leap across completely alien realities. Physicist David Deutsch describes this realm using the term multiversal computation, an idea where quantum computers don't just calculate in one reality but across many at once. Imagine billions of universes interacting, resonating, or even computing each other's existence. In this view, the seventh dimension may be the true operating system of reality. But what lies beyond even that? Chapter 10, The Eighth Dimension, The Fold of All Infinity. The eighth dimension folds together all the possibilities of the seventh dimension. Let's use a metaphor. In the third dimension, a fold might bring 2 points in space together. In the fourth, folding time could create a time loop or shortcut. In the eighth dimension, entire multiverses can be folded, touching realities that seem impossibly disconnected. This could explain the phenomenon of cosmic resonance, subtle connections between vastly different universes that influence each other's stability. For example, why is our universe so finely tuned for life? Why do physical constants seem balanced on a razor's edge? Some theories suggest anthropic selection. Only certain folds through the eighth dimension lead to universes where observers exist, like us. Here's an analogy. Think of universes as pages in a giant book. The eighth dimension is the binding that lets certain pages influence others. A change in one part of the book may ripple through to distant, unrelated chapters. This introduces a haunting idea: our reality might be shaped not just by our own history, but by what's happening in other universes. If consciousness or quantum information can leak across these folds, then perhaps dreams, déjà vu, or intuition are dimensional echoes from other folds of existence. Chapter 11, The Ninth Dimension, The Library of All Realities. The ninth dimension is the apex of possibility. Here, every point contains a network of entire multiverse trees, not just every universe with every law, but every logical system that could ever exist or be imagined. This includes universes with more than 3 spatial dimensions, worlds with reversed logic gates, realities where physics operates non-locally, consciousness-based realities where thought defines space. In the ninth dimension, every possible form of existence, every framework of causality, and every dimensional expression is present simultaneously. It is often called the omniverse, the set of all possible multiverses. Imagine an infinite cosmic map, not drawn in space but in meta-patterns of structure, where math itself can vary, where dimensions fluctuate or overlap, where reality is not bound by our logic, but by pure existence potential. This is not science fiction. Mathematics accepts this possibility under theories such as category theory, which unifies systems across different mathematical structures; modal realism, the philosophical view that all possible worlds are as real as the actual one; and set theoretic universes, where even the rules of logic and proof can vary. Here, we face the ultimate humility. Our universe may be one among an uncountable set, not even a speck, but one expression of a cosmic language far beyond comprehension. Chapter 12, The Tenth Dimension, The Final Fold. The tenth dimension is the totality of everything. It is the ultimate envelope, the sum of all realities, all patterns, all frameworks, all infinities. There is no beyond the tenth, because it includes all universes, all timelines, all laws, all geometries, all dimensions. This is the everything space. In theory, if a being or intelligence existed in the 10th dimension, it could perceive all events simultaneously, shift any reality to any other, rewrite existence from first principles, create or destroy entire multiverses. This is the realm sometimes associated with the source field, the quantum vacuum of all vacuums, the conscious engine of creation. In string theory, by the time you reach the 10th dimension, every string vibration, every field interaction, every form of geometry collapses into pure unification, a singular elegant structure that gives rise to all things. But this structure is not static. It is dynamic, eternal, and possibly intelligent. Some physicists and philosophers see the 10th dimension as a hint toward the divine, not as a deity in human form, but as the fundamental meta-order, the source code of the cosmos. Chapter 13. The 11th dimension, the master key of M-theory. Wait, if 10 is the highest, what is the 11th dimension? Enter M-theory, a proposed extension of string theory. In standard string theory, particles are tiny vibrating strings in 10 dimensions. But M-theory suggests there's more. In this model, strings are one-dimensional. Brains short for membranes can have 2, 3, or even 10 dimensions. A universe may be a 3-brain floating in an 11-dimensional bulk. The 11th dimension is the space that allows these brains to interact, collide, and create big bangs. This is not speculative guesswork. This higher dimensional structure helps unify gravity with quantum mechanics. All 5 versions of string theory into one framework. The possibility that our universe is not alone, but one sheet among many in a vast multiversal sea. In M-theory, universes are brains, dimensions are woven membranes. Existence is a dance of geometry and energy. If proven, the 11th dimension could be the backstage of reality, where big bangs are just collisions, where time is not linear but cyclical, where our universe is a bubble, one of countless others, floating in a cosmic foam. Chapter 14, Consciousness, Code, and the Dimensional Observer. We must now ask if these dimensions exist, even curled up, unseen, or abstract. How do we know them? The answer may lie in consciousness. Some theories suggest consciousness may operate non-locally beyond 3D space and time. The human mind may be a quantum observer, collapsing potentialities from higher dimensions. Memory, emotion, and thought may be echoes of dimensional structures far beyond our biology. Consider near-death experiences, lucid dreams, transcendent states in meditation. These may not be fantasies, but contact with dimensions beyond the physical. Even modern physics entertains this with ideas like orchestrated objective reduction, Penrose and Hameroff, integrated information theory, panpsychism. In these models, consciousness is not emergent, it is fundamental. And if consciousness is fundamental, then it may exist across dimensions. Perhaps we are dimensional beings, experiencing one slice of reality, while other aspects of us ripple through higher spaces. Chapter 15, Simulation, Mathematics, and the Blueprint of Reality. One final theory: what if all of this, from the 1st to the 11th dimension, is information? Physicist John Archibald Wheeler famously said, greater than, it from bit, everything comes from binary choices, from information. Today, many scientists suggest the universe behaves like a quantum computer. Reality follows algorithmic rules. Physical matter is emergent computation. In this view, the dimensions are data structures, layers of a massive simulation or mathematical construct. This doesn't mean we're in a video game. It means reality is computable, structured, ordered. The Matrix, in a way, may be real, not as fiction, but as metaphor. We may be avatars of higher dimensional forms, playing out experiences in 3D spacetime to learn, evolve, or actualize purpose. And the code? It's written in mathematics, geometry, symmetry, and conscious intent. Conclusion: the dimensional symphony, from the familiar 3D world, through time into parallel timelines, and up to the omniversal totality, the dimensions paint a picture far grander than we ever imagined. They suggest reality is layered. Time is not linear. Existence is plural. Consciousness is cosmic. To understand dimensions is not just to grasp geometry. It is to glimpse the architecture of reality itself. The universe is not just a place. It is a multiverse of dimensions, a symphony of forms, and a mystery unfolding through awareness. Chapter 16, Dimensional Consciousness. Are we more than 3D? If higher dimensions exist, do we interact with them even if we're unaware? Modern theories of consciousness challenge the assumption that our minds are confined to the brain. They suggest we might be transdimensional observers, localized in 3D, but touching something much greater. Imagine consciousness as a field, not a product of matter, but a fundamental aspect of reality, like gravity or time. Some key models that point to this. 1. Penrose Hameroff's orchestrated objective reduction, or CORE, suggests microtubules inside brain cells perform quantum computations. These quantum processes are sensitive to space-time geometry, possibly linking to higher dimensions. 2. Integrated Information Theory (IIT) proposes that consciousness arises from integrated systems of information. The more integrated and irreducible the system, the more conscious it is. This integration may extend across multiple dimensions. 3. Holographic Brain Theory. The brain functions like a hologram, encoding information non-locally. In a hologram, each part contains the whole image. This hints that our consciousness may be part of a greater whole, an echo of a higher dimensional self. And then there's near-death experiences, lucid dreams, and psychedelic states, often described as traveling through tunnels, seeing geometric patterns, feeling unity with the universe. Could these be dimensional bleed-throughs? Are we glimpsing fragments of our own presence in higher dimensions? Chapter 17: Ancient Cultures and the Geometry of Reality. Long before modern physics, ancient civilizations described layered realities, hidden realms, and cosmic orders. Could they have known, in symbols and myth, what we now try to model in equations? Ancient India, the Vedas, and the 11 Lokas. The Upanishads describe 14 worlds, 7 higher lokas, and 7 lower talas planes of existence. These realms aren't places, but vibrational states, each subtler than the last. The topmost, Satyaloka, is said to transcend time, space, and matter, eerily similar to the 10th dimension. Ancient Egypt, the Jed, the Ka, and dimensional resurrection. Egyptian mysticism speaks of the Ka-life force and the Ba spirit, which after death must reunite in the Duat, a non-physical space akin to a higher dimension. The Jed pillar, a symbol of stability, may represent the Axis Mundi, a dimensional spine connecting realms. Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, and 10 plus 1 Sephiroth. The Tree of Life is a structure of 10 Sephiroth attributes of God with an 11th hidden one. This structure is mirrored in string theory's 10 known dimensions plus a hidden 11th. Coincidence? Or did mystics intuit the dimensional ladder millennia ago? Tibet and Buddhism, the bardos and states of transition. In the Tibetan Book of the Dead, the bardos are described as transitional states between death and rebirth, our realms outside linear time. They're fluid, mind-sensitive environments shaped by thought. A place where reality responds to intent, much like higher dimensional spaces where matter and thought converge. Chapter 18: Symbols of the Higher Worlds. From sacred geometry to mandalas, symbols encode deep truths about space, time, and consciousness. Let's decode a few. 1. The flower of life, found in Egyptian, Chinese, and medieval Christian art. Built from interlocking circles. Mathematicians note it encodes Metatron's cube, a symbol containing all 5 Platonic solids, the building blocks of 3D space. Some theorists believe the flower of life depicts dimensional emergence, how higher geometries collapse into the familiar 3D world. 2. The Sri Yantra, an ancient Indian mandala of 9 interlocking triangles. Its complexity exceeds what early civilizations could calculate, yet it perfectly models non-Euclidean geometry and dimensional balance. 3. Labyrinths and spirals, found from Minoan Crete to Native American petroglyphs. These patterns are not random, they represent non-linear movement through space, much like dimensional folding or hyperspatial travel. Chapter 19: Future Technologies to Access Higher Dimensions. We now turn from past wisdom to future possibilities. If higher dimensions are real, can we reach them? 1. Particle colliders and brain interaction. The Large Hadron Collider LHC at CERN was partly built to search for evidence of extra dimensions. If our universe is a 3-brain in an 1D bulk, then Some particles like gravitons could leak into higher dimensions. Mini black holes might appear, decay rapidly, and vanish, hinting at higher dimensional escape. No definitive signs yet, but the next generation future circular collider may push these limits, too. Quantum gravity and the loop string theory isn't alone. Loop quantum gravity, another approach, describes space as a woven network of loops like a quantum fabric. These loops imply space itself has a minimum unit, a pixel of reality. Manipulating this quantum geometry may allow controlled bending of space, a key to dimensional transition. 3. Entanglement networks and non-local awareness. Quantum entanglement links particles across space instantly. It seems to defy the speed of light, suggesting higher dimensional connectivity. Could we develop consciousness technology to tap into these entangled fields? Some researchers are experimenting with meditation tech and psychedelics to map human brainwave states to quantum resonance patterns. It sounds fringe, but if consciousness is higher dimensional, this may be our most direct route. 4. DNA as a dimensional antenna. Our DNA may be more than a biological blueprint. Its fractal geometry, torus fields, and helical structure suggest it could be a receiver, transmitter of dimensional information. Russian researchers like Dr. Peter Garyaev claim DNA responds to light, sound, and scalar fields, possibly storing non-local data from other dimensions. This is speculative, but if true, it would make human beings living gateways to higher planes.
Chapter 20. What it all means, the human role in the dimensional symphony. Why does any of this matter? Because it transforms our place in the cosmos. If we are not just matter in 3D spacetime, but expressions of higher dimensional forms, then life, consciousness, and the universe itself are far more sacred, intentional, and vast than we've been told. Every choice, every thought, every interaction may ripple through dimensions unseen, affecting realities unknown. This brings a deep responsibility to evolve not just materially, but spiritually, to explore not just the universe, but the inner cosmos, to live as conscious creators in a multi-layered reality, and perhaps, just perhaps, to reach back into the source dimension, the eternal field from which all things arise. Called to curiosity, humanity stands at the edge of understanding. We once thought Earth was the center. Then we saw it was one world orbiting one star. Now we know even our universe is just one of countless dimensional patterns. This isn't the end of science, it's the beginning. Let us go deeper, not just into space, but into reality itself. Because only by exploring all dimensions, inside and out, will we know who we really are.
Chapter 21. The Dimensional Mirror, Universe Looking Back at Itself. Imagine the universe isn't something separate from life, but something life creates. This radical shift in perspective comes from the concept of the participatory universe, proposed by physicist John Archibald Wheeler, co-creator of the term black hole. He proposed something extraordinary. Greater than no phenomenon is a real phenomenon unless it is an observed phenomenon. In other words, consciousness doesn't exist in the universe exists within consciousness. And this changes everything. Chapter 22, The Holographic Principle, You Are the Whole. What if everything you see, feel, and touch is a projection? That's the idea behind the holographic principle, a theory born from black hole physics and string theory. It says, everything in our 3D universe is encoded on a distant 2D surface, like a cosmic hologram. Just like a holographic plate can encode a 3D image, the universe encodes depth from flat geometry. This surface may exist at the edge of the cosmological horizon or perhaps even in another dimension. In this view, reality is not made of stuff, but of information projected from beyond, which leads to a stunning implication: your life, your memories, your identity are part of a dimensional code playing out in a cosmic computation. Chapter 23. Time, the dimension we misunderstand. We treat time as linear. A past, a now, a future. But physics, from Einstein to quantum theory, shows it may be non-linear, fluid, even illusory. Julian Barber, a physicist, argues that time doesn't flow. Instead, greater than the universe is a collection of timeless configurations existing all at once. Like snapshots in a cosmic album, each now exists eternally. Our experience of movement is like flipping pages, an illusion caused by consciousness transitioning between dimensional states. In this picture, time is a fourth dimension, but not a ticking clock. It's a coordinate, like width or depth. And higher dimensions may contain timelines branching, converging, and looping. This opens a door to time travel, parallel lives, and interdimensional versions of yourself existing right now. Chapter 24. DNA, the biological hypercode. As mentioned earlier, DNA is not just a molecule, it's a dimensional antenna. Each double helix forms a spiral resonator, emits and absorbs biophotons light particles, stores not only genetic code but possibly spiritual code, access points to non-physical layers. Fractal mathematics, sacred geometry, and wave interference patterns suggest DNA may be a biological hyperlink to the higher dimensional matrix. Every cell might be listening, not just to your body, but to a cosmic field of dimensional intelligence. Chapter 25. Consciousness Technology, Awakening the 5D Mind. As technology externalizes AI, VR, brain-computer interfaces, the question becomes, can we internalize spiritual technology? From ancient meditative practices to modern neurofeedback, we now explore states of consciousness that break linear time, induce ego dissolution, cause dimensional visions. These may be training wheels for developing fifth dimensional thinking, nonlinear causality, sixth dimensional logic, multiple possible worlds, seventh dimensional insight, cosmic totality awareness. The mystics were right. Reality bends to consciousness because it is consciousness folded into dimensions. Chapter 26. The Simulation Theory and its Dimensional Implications. What if our universe is a simulation? Not just metaphorically, but literally. Nick Bostrom, Oxford philosopher, suggests that advanced civilizations could simulate entire universes. If they can, and they run many simulations, it becomes statistically likely we live in one. But simulations need hardware. Where is it running? The theory leads to a mind-bending idea. Greater than simulations don't run on computers. They run in higher dimensions. Like a video game exists on a 2D screen but is rendered by 3D software. Our 3D world may be rendered by non-physical computation, a field of pure dimensional intelligence. Chapter 27. Hyperdimensional Beings, Aliens, Spirits, and the Other. Are we alone in the universe, or more importantly, are we alone in reality? Ancient traditions, alien contact accounts, and psychic experiences often share features, beings appearing and disappearing. Nonverbal communication, warping of time and space. These beings don't act like visitors from another planet, but like travelers from other dimensions. Whether one calls them aliens, angels, interdimensional intelligences, the pattern is clear. Some form of consciousness seems to traverse beyond our 3D world, intersecting with us under altered states. It raises an even bigger question. Are we those beings, just temporarily dreaming we are human? Chapter 28. Portals. Do gateways to other dimensions exist? Throughout history, there have been stories of stargates, wormholes, sacred sites, dream realms. Are these metaphors or actual portals? Quantum physics allows for quantum tunneling, matter appearing on the other side of a barrier without traveling the space between. Black holes are believed to bend spacetime so much they may connect to white holes, possibly in other dimensions. Could natural portals exist in the fabric of space, or could they be triggered within the mind? Perhaps the greatest portal is not external, but you. Chapter 29. The Unified Field. All dimensions, one reality. Einstein died searching for the unified field theory, a model where gravity, electromagnetism, and quantum forces all emerge from one underlying essence. String theory and M-theory continue that quest, but mystics already gave it a name, the One. All dimensions may arise from one infinite, indivisible field, call it the source, the void, God, zero-point energy, consciousness itself. In this field, duality vanishes. Subject and object merge. There is no space, no time, only isness. All dimensions, all universes are simply expressions of this one, dancing into form and back again. Chapter 30. The end is the beginning, becoming dimensional architects. Here is the final truth. We are not merely inhabitants of dimensions. We are the creators of them. Every thought, emotion, and choice alters your frequency. Every frequency shifts your position in the dimensional lattice. You are not just a point in space. You are a node in the infinite pattern, a living expression of the universe knowing itself through layers of complexity. So the question becomes, what will you build? Final call to action, watch. Again, look deeper and never see reality the same if this film expanded your mind. If you now see the world in a new way, don't stop here. Rewatch. Every symbol and sentence contains new layers. Share, become a ripple in someone else's awakening. Comment, let us know your thoughts, theories, and dimensional experiences. And most importantly, subscribe to Atomic Domain, where the universe unfolds. One dimension at a time.